Hello, so the aim here is to quickly go through the magnetometer correction algorithm. Please excuse the baby in the background. Um, so if we click on show 3D, we have well, it would have been blank. Click this button here that says create smooth mag sphere. We zoom in, and then the button here that says reset orientation. If you right click, you get a new column. And then it says, just run your mouse wheel up on the second button down to make the dots bigger. You can see that we've got a sphere of data. We've got some bits of data that stick out. We don't want to include these in our selection for when we use the correction algorithm. Okay, so the way DDMT smooths data, it uses a centered average window. So we we don't want to include the data right down at the very bottom here on the left or at the very end. Okay, so we need to obviously not include them. So, but also we want to remove the data that's causing those little spikes. See the little spikes just here. So if we stop selecting just before there, so we've got parts of a sphere of data there, but it's not exactly round. So we want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the 3D and I'm going to select this data and call it a bookmark. So left and right click just here for 1 second, let go. This is noting bookmark. And then I want to go right to the end and then pull back slightly because we don't want the end bit of data. And if we go to 3D again, and we need to get past this erroneous bit of data. So when it stops spiking, okay, so now we've got more of a sphere here. It's more of a sphere than the first data selection I made. Turn off the 3D and highlight all that, so it's just the data that's within this orange bar. So left and right click to create the bookmark. Okay, so now we have two bookmarks from there and all the way down to there. So both are before the end and and after the beginning. So we don't want to use data at those very ends, otherwise we'll end up with a blip that we've created ourselves. Okay, so back to show 3D. So if I click on this second button down, it says sphere frame none, just to turn off that sphere because it kind of gets in the way a little bit. Now, this button here, this is initiate magnetometer orientation algorithm, or correction algorithm, sorry. So click that. Now, what these spheres are, this sphere, or this left set of data, is all the data that's currently in view. So it's not just the data that's selected as bookmarks, it also includes the data in between here, the bad bit of data that we don't want to use. Whereas this sphere here, if you left click and roll, you can move around, you can check that it is pretty spherical. Or it may be squashed, or like ellipsoid, but it hasn't got these spiky bits of data. Okay, so now we need to tell it what data we want to use by highlighting these bookmarks. So if you look in the yellow writing, the second line from the bottom, it says mag sphere correction not selected. So we want to make those two bookmarks selected. So you hold down the left Alt key, and then as long as you're within the bookmark area, or within one of the bookmarks, we hold down Alt key and we right click, and it now says selected. So the first bookmark of data has now been passed to the third sphere. So you can see that it's not quite the same because it doesn't include the second bookmark of data. So I'm going to add that now. So hold down the left Alt key and right click. So now both these, the second line from the bottom in yellow writing, it says selected, and this one now also says selected. So both bookmarks of data are going to be used in this correction algorithm. Okay, so now we're happy with that. We tell it, so we've got like an offset, we've also got a slightly non-spherical set of data. So click the button. Okay, and it's actually done it, given its first best guess. So you can see how that's slightly ellipsoidal. It's corrected the offset, it's corrected the data back to the origin, but it's also given its first stab at removing the ellipsoid error. Okay, so I'm happy with that. You could if you right click here, it then goes through a process of twisting this bar around every possible orientation, creating an array of corrections in this grid here. It can take a few minutes depending on how much data you're looking at and how fast your computer is. And at the end, it will then pick the best point within that. But its first guess is correct here. So I'm just going to click this button now. Okay, click this button to say I accept that correction. And you can't move this a minute because it's not selected. The visual has not been selected. Okay, so you left click in the middle, and you can see how even with the erroneous data, that correction has actually been successful. So it's as easy as that. There you go.